Afternoon, my name is Delevan. We are continuing our CASAC T education. As you know, I am training in Outreach Training Institute, which is located in Jamaica, Queens. Today we were taught by the Vice President of OTI, Mr. Kevin Wendalevich, and we were speaking about the necessary stages of change. In clinical terms, words that a lot of people don't understand, the terminology for stages of change would be the Transtheoritcal model. And we define these stages as pre-contemplation is the first. Usually that means the person is closed or they are unopen or unwilling to admit or accept that they might need change. Second is contemplation. They might start to consider at this point that they do have a problem or that there might be something wrong. We then went to preparation, which was the ability to be ready to do something by the client. The fourth step is action, which is changing your behavior. The fifth step, which is maintenance, which is sustaining change once the change has begun. And the sixth that we have to take into consideration, in recovery and in treatment, relapse is a very realistic part of treatment and of therapy. And we need to be realistic to understand that a lot of our clients will suffer relapse before they get it together. That's not uncommon. One of the things that needs to be addressed that's very important is these steps that I just laid out, which were laid out to me. When we're counselors and we're treating our clients, we need to follow these stages according to the way they're laid out. We can't take somebody who's in pre-contemplation and throw them right into the action stage. They'll get defensive, they'll back up, they're not prepared for it. The stages are laid out this way for a reason. We need to keep that in mind. Now, we also discussed something else in this class, which is a little off the clinical lines, and I'm going to drift away from what Kevin spoke about today. And that was the rare occasions where we see people or we hear of stories with people in recovery who, after years and years and years of chronic abuse, suddenly an event happened or something changed in their life where it was almost as if a switch was thrown in their brain, or some may call it divine intervention, or a spiritual awakening, or a moment of clarity where they just realized that they had enough. Now, one of the things we learned in class today, when you're a chronic substance abuser, it's a proven fact clinically, biologically, chemically, that parts of your brain stop functioning. The ability to decide right and wrong is shut off. The limbic system, which we learned about earlier, takes over, where it's not even that the person has a choice anymore whether or not to continue or stop using. The brain sends messages to the body, almost like when you're hungry, your stomach craves for food. It's the same thing when you've been a chronic abuser of substances. Your brain is telling your body that you need this substance. So now the reason I bring that point up is because when you think of the fact, considering how difficult it is to get off substances with treatment and with counseling, and some people it takes them years upon years of attempts, therapy, relapses. When you think about the miracle that happens where somebody suddenly just says that's enough, that something triggers. What caused that trigger? What caused that thought? What caused that having enough? Maybe, as your job as a counselor, that person you watched walk out the door and you watched the relapse and you thought that they would never get better, or you thought you didn't have an impact. Maybe it was your words, your advice, your thoughts that 10 years down the road clicked in their brain. So the point to the story is keep your head up, stay positive, help these clients the best that you can, because you never know when the voice of reason is going to strike. Thank you.